We happen to have a National Association of Nigerian Student Public Relations Officers, South, here in our studios, and he was part of that protest. He is Utwe Ekanem, and he's here to tell us what really went down. Great to have you in our studios.
Good to have you. Good morning.
I can see the mood. The mood is like, yo, like, was it like joining the strike? Are you for ASUU or against ASUU? Or what's the position of Nigerian students?
Against ASUU and federal government.
Against the two of them. Okay, why so?
We all know what these people are doing because it is sad. Every time we are suffering the pains, both of them, if maybe at the end of the day, when they are on strike, they are not being paid, we will be fine. But ASUU will be paid. Federal government staff will be paid. Who is now paying the students? We are now the ones suffering. When two elephants are fighting, it is the grass. And in this case, it is the student that we are the ones suffering. So it is really sad, and I'm against the both of them.
Okay, having been against them, like you have said, what is the position of students? What do you really want? What's your demand?
We want to go back to classroom.
Okay.
We just want to go back to classroom. Let us go and learn and graduate on time. That is just the position. Return students back to classroom.
Now you just want to return to classroom. Now, yes. I have mentioned that the chairman ASUU Akwa Ibom chapter actually said it's a rollover. So peradventure, if pressure is mounted on ASUU and government, they might just, suspend the strike to resume anytime very unexpected to the student. So what is the true demand? Is it just to suspend the strike or to quit the strike altogether?
We want the federal government to find a lasting solution to this issue. A lasting solution that we will go to school smoothly and then graduate. Find a lasting solution to this ASUU incessant strike. That is just it.
So do you think some of the concerns of ASUU are legitimate or valid or something that they should go on strike for?
Well, ASUU has right to press home their demands. But it should not at every point in time affect the students. I saw on the internet that ASUU is demanding 1 trillion naira from the federal government. And I think this is a misplaced priority. Because
but this 1 trillion naira is an accumulation of all gratuity, pension arrears, and these are their rights. They are entitled to it because they're working. And compared to other climes where you have lecturers taken care of optimally, you would see that they have rights to what they're demanding.
Yes, like I said, they have
so
rights.
So you're feeling that government cannot give such amount of money at this
We
time?
all know government cannot pay them 1 trillion naira. Nigeria is owing about $40 billion. So where would the federal government get 1 trillion naira to give to them? Let them reach an agreement with the federal government. Get what the federal government has to give to them, and then return us back to classroom. We are tired.
Temporarily.
No. There should be an total end to these strike issues. Federal government is being nonchalant about education. And education in Nigeria is underfunded. Yesterday, the national president at Abuja had protested. And today there is a meeting between ASUU, federal government, and the Nigerian students. So maybe at the end of the day, if we don't get any positive response, we'll go all out. We'll turn it to the NSAS part 2.
Wow. This time in ASUU strike.
Yes.
Well, you talked about having a meeting. Now, ASUU have said that the face of Nigerian tertiary institution is what it is today because of their recurrent strike. And government ordinarily does not invest money in education, else our tertiary institution might be turned into what you have in primary and secondary school. Do you think that the strike should be encouraged, or what the Nigerian student taking to the table?
Like I said, federal government is being nonchalant about education. Education is underfunded in Nigeria. Okay. Underfunded, below the UNESCO benchmark. That is why you see we have dilapidated structures all over the federal universities in the country. Because they are being nonchalant. All they do is sit down, eat the little, embezzle the funds, send their children abroad. Thank God for what is happening in Ukraine. So
thank God for what's happening in Ukraine?
Yes, so that their children will now look for a way to come back.
Oh, that's the way you see it?
Yes.
Well, have you considered the loss of lives, the people that have, paid the ultimate price because
that is the sad part of it. That is the sad part of it. But
Okay.
there are children that are there studying. I saw them protesting the other day. I saw them protesting, and I am happy that they want to come back home. They should remain there.
Well, well, I think that's solely your opinion, but it's quite twisted there and makes me bleak. However, on a more serious note, if you say you are against ASU and you are against the federal government, how then can ASU be able to drive down or get government to be more sensitive to education in Nigeria, since you say that they are not?
I am not saying ASU has no right to press on their demands. They have the right to press on their
Are you then? Why then do you not? Do you say you're not supporting them?
Are there no other ways to go about this than strike all the time?
Well, from their position, they say that that's the only language government understands, is strike.
Fine.
And they've had a memorandum of understanding that federal governments have refused to understand, so they now call it a memorandum of action, which is the action part has to be going on strike so that government can pay attention. Do you share that sentiment?
Okay, so for how long are we going to remain at home? Like every year strike, every year strike, every year strike. So can't the ASU leadership and then the federal government reach an agreement? It must not favor the both parties. We all know it must not favor the both parties. But sometimes you shift ground for these children. You shift ground for us, the Nigerian students, because we are the ones suffering. I talked about maybe students who is staying outside the campus, who is paying rent. Landlords do not joke with their rent. The landlord, they do not care if you are on strike or whatever. You pay their money as at when due. If it is not due, they serve you a quick notice. So we are the ones suffering this. They should go to a round table and find a lasting solution to these issues.
Yeah, lasting solution it is. And maybe that is why federal government have decided to include students in the round
meeting
table
is today
discussion.
at Abuja.
Okay, the meeting is today. Now, what do you think should be the outcome of that? Is there anything that Nigerian students have agreed upon? Because I had heard you talk about they get paid, ASU gets paid at the end of the day, and federal government staff get paid.
Yes.
And students don't get. Are you going to negotiate for payment for students for staying at home?
Well, all we need is return us back to classroom. Just let us go back to school. Let us learn and then graduate on time.
Wow.
Because, okay, you're delaying us now. Someone is supposed to graduate for 4 years, will now graduate for 6, 7 years. And at the end of the day, when it's time to serve, you say the person is now is above 30 and then cannot serve. What is happening? You are punishing us deliberately. And yesterday, the Minister of Education walked out of the leadership of NANS at Abuja just because a question was thrown at him that the educational sector under his watch is poorly going down and his children is abroad. He stood up and left because he could not withstand the question. I just hope the meeting today go very well at Abuja, because if it does not,
Okay.
I think it is time to tell the federal government that we are not intimidated by anything.
Well, we saw yesterday, talking about intimidation, your theme actually shut down the federal secretariat at a back road. And it kind of turned into an argument. What was the true situation?
Okay, what happened there was the chairman, Joint Campus Committee, Beneti Abasi Comrade, he went there, he locked down the place. I was at the Ministry of Education trying to sort out things. I now left where I was down there. When I went there, I saw that the security personnel, the prisons people there, they were opening the gate even when it's being shut down. And I got pissed. Why? Is it because you're with a rifle? Is it because you're with a gun? And you're opening he was challenging me. I told him I will get that gun and I'll shoot him. Right there. Because you cannot intimidate me. You cannot.
But why would you go that far?
Why would he open the gate?
Because he has a gun. I mean, he's armed and you're not armed.
Because he's armed, does that mean he should intimidate me? No, I am not intimidated. Not with that gun. Even if it is fully loaded, I am not intimidated.
Why so?
I am not intimidated. You cannot intimidate me. I am fighting for my education in Nigeria is a right. It's not a privilege.
Wow. Well, at that point, you say that this is just a warning, because most of the persons who have spoken during the protests all across Nigeria, they're saying it's a warning.
Yes.
Is there some kind of coalition among all Nigerian students?
Yes. We are in unity. We are one. It was just what you saw at Federal Secretariat is not just. It's not even half quarter of 1/4 of the students in the University of Uyo and ASUU. I just hope the meeting today goes on very well because we would mobilize the entire student. We block federal roads. I am thinking of people that wants to travel out of Akwa Ibom because there will be no way. Everybody will stay at home. Everybody will just so long as they say students should remain at home, everybody should also remain at home.
Well, I hope it doesn't get to that point. Thank you very much, Public Relations Officers, National Students Association, South Zone. It was great having you in our studios, and I hope that you mobilize the students to maybe advocate peacefully, just so that we ensure safety of lives and property while waiting on federal governments to, return the students back to school.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for being on the show.